Hi, I'm Helen McLeod. I am the captain of St. Mirren women's team and I play defensive mid.
Hi, I'm Praise Abebo. I play striker.
How was it coming through in the women's game that you faced coming through that you've had to overcome?
For me personally, I started off a very long time ago playing with the boys. There wasn't really a girls' team growing up for myself. Eventually, when I did move to Scotland, it was more of a fact like we had to pay for a lot of our fees. We had to fundraise constantly, and we still kind of do now. But it's come a long way. Now we've got female football boots that are coming out. Prime for us. When I was growing up, it was always my Coopers. It's night and day from what I've been used to growing up.
So you were touching on having to play for sort of boys' clubs when you were younger. How do you feel that impacted? Do you feel it maybe toughened you up a bit, or would you have preferred to be playing with women coming through?
I think it made me the player I am today, because when you have that kind of prove it mentality, it makes you stronger. I was always trying to prove a point. You know how it is.
I know, of course. So, when talking about these youth teams, would you prefer to stay sort of mix until a certain age point coming through? Do you think that'd be more beneficial to young girls starting to come through in the game?
There's been some of the I-teens that have come up into our team. It's been beneficial for them playing with us. It just depends on the player, if they're ready for that step up. You can only get better if you're in that competitive kind of situation.
So yourself, you have been organised football until after COVID. Were you always interested in playing football?
For me, football was something that I didn't really know anything about until I was maybe 13. And then when we had moved to Scotland, a few years into it, I remember putting on the BBC and the Women's Euros was on. I think it was 2015. And I just remember being captivated by the games and the drama and everything. So from there, my interest in football sort of started to build, but I still didn't really take that leap into playing in a competitive environment or in an organised environment until just after COVID, when I turned 18 or 19. That's kind of when I realised that I actually did want to play it, so I took that leap, and I'm really glad that I did.
When you started playing, it's been much more recent. How did you find it finding a team to get involved with in the women's game?
I think it was a lot easier, obviously, than it would have been even 5-10 years prior. But it was still a little bit difficult just finding sort of a start as someone that didn't really have any experience at all. The first team before I joined my first competitive team, the one before that was more of a community group, and it was it's made of refugees and stuff, just trying to bring stuff into the community. So that was really helpful, but at the same time, it wasn't as easy to find a team. But obviously, as the years have gone by, it's become much easier, and there's a lot more teams now, and there's a lot more teams posting about it, looking for players, and it's a lot easier to find, especially with social media as well.
So you touched on obviously watching the Euros there. How much of an impact do you think the added exposure as a women's game has had on young girls coming through?
You look at the England women winning the Euros and how positive it was for a lot of the young girls growing up. They've actually got someone that they can aspire to be. You need that. You need that for the young girls. We have a setup now where there's a few of them. One in particular, watches us and thinks she can be the next maybe Saints captain, Saints player, even play for Scotland. Who knows? But you need that. You need that visibility. You need. I can watch it on the TV now. Growing up, there wasn't anyone that I really watched growing up, and kids nowadays are lucky. It's exciting though for the women's game. Yeah.
Sorry, can I just add to that? I think as well on top of that, having celebrities that do endorse the women's game as well, people like Ian Wright and other celebrities out there that also advocate for the women's game and put their money into it and help it to grow. I think that's also just as important as the visibility that you get from the tournaments and stuff like that.
how important do you think it is to have these women's teams available and have these players that they can see and aspire to be? How vital do you feel that is?
I think if the women's game in Scotland in particular wants to move forward, you need players that these girls can look up to. And I think it's going on the right direction. Maybe it could go a little bit quicker in my eyes, but it's a slow and steady pace at the moment, but we're getting there.
What do you feel needs to change to sort of enhance the women's game in this country even more? If you could pick one thing to make different, what would that be?
I think if you ask any women's team, the biggest thing they probably struggle with is funding. So I don't know if that's working with, if it's a team in a council, maybe working with the council, or finding more sponsors or anything like that. I think if it was a business at the end of the day, and for a business to grow, you need money coming in. So, I'm not a businesswoman, but it's some way to get more money into the teams would definitely help it to grow.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with it. Everything she said.
So, obviously, you're involved in SWFL League One, 5th place last year. What are your aims there this year? Is it something you want to build on to try and push towards the top of that league this year?
Our only ambition is to win it. We were quite fortunate last season with injuries, especially to key players. We were quite lucky that we had, an 18s to kind of fall back on for them to support us. But from that, we've got a few players coming through that are really staking a claim in our team right now. So pre-season's going well. We've got a really good squad that's shaping up. Top is the only spot for us.
Being sort of part-time, how is pre-season for you? Do you find it a bit more difficult not being able to come in every single day in preparations, or do you still feel like you're getting enough work done?
Personally, there's a core group of players right now that are making every single training session. So we're 3 nights a week. We've got friendlies on a Sunday. We're doing, things out with our training as well. A lot of the girls are looking pretty good. So that's not a worry for me. The right mentality is there with a lot of them.
And so he's confident going out the season. Do you believe in your own ability?
Absolutely.
You need to.
And just if people want to come support the team, you want to come support you, support every aspect of the club, where do you play your home games and how are they best to sort of come cheese on? Where are they best to hear about your fixtures, your friendlies? What's up next for you? What's the best ways to make go?
So all the fixtures are usually on the SWFL site. I think they're being released next week. We play our home games at Moss Edge and Linwood, usually at 4:00 kickoff. So.
Is that on a Sunday?
On a Sunday.
Right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.